Welcome to Pastry Making with Nellie Yager. I'm Nellie Yager and this is my kitchen. I'd like to start out by asking the question, what makes a pastry a pastry? What differentiates a pastry from some other baked goods, say a piece of bread or a cookie? Pastries are made with a dough that has a high fat content, which yields a light, flaky, buttery treat. What better way is there to learn about pastries than by making some pastries? My first learning outcome was to master basic pastry making by making some basic pastries. When I think of pastries, the first pastry that comes to mind is cream puffs. Cream puffs are the perfect pastry. They're light, flaky, airy, and fluffy. When making new foods, there's going to be mistakes. My second learning outcome was to discover something I was terrible at making and make it better the next time. On a hot summer day, I decided to avoid oven use, to make cookies on a griddle rather than in the oven. The result tasted something like rubbery chocolate cardboard.
And now it is time for Pastry Songs with Nellie, the part of the show where Nellie comes out and sings a pastry song.
No, it's not. It's really not.
Roll them!
I had 3 learning outcomes that I needed to complete. I made some basic pastries that were cheesy, some were sweet. I gathered the ingredients to make a local quiche. I barbecued some cream puffs and they turned out rather neat. I made some cookies that were awful. Fried cookie dough is pretty bad. Fried them in oil, they turned out soggy. Fried them without is just sad. Sweet treats, oh they taste so good to eat. Can you leave out all the sugar and use flour that's whole wheat? Extra honey, oh so yummy. Apple rolls with some control and homemade jam and extra cream. Forget icing, still enticing, yeast is rising, perfect sizing. Fact that you are hearing, this means that I am still here. I worked hard on these problems and I pushed back all my fears. I made some basic pastries, fixed mistakes, made healthy treats. I beat some yolks and cracked some yolks and made a doughy bowl. I made some cookies that were awful. Fried cookie dough is pretty bad. Fried them in oil, they turned out soggy. Bake them instead, you'll be glad. Bake them instead, you'll be glad.
That was embarrassing. Where was I? Oh yes, rubbery chocolate cardboard. In an attempt to fix that recipe, I ended up creating cookies which were increasingly less and less edible, eventually ending up with a greasy, soggy mess when I attempted to fry the cookie dough in oil. It was at that moment I realized that cookie dough was not meant to be fried. I changed up the recipe a bit, added some peanut butter and some chocolate chips, and I baked it. The result was delicious. Sugar is pretty bad for you, and all-purpose flour doesn't have much nutritional value. For my final learning outcome, I wanted to use natural ingredients as an alternative to processed ingredients when possible in my recipes. During this class, I learned some about working with whole wheat flour. When you use whole wheat flour in the recipe by itself, the texture turns out pretty weird. However, if you combine half whole wheat flour and half all-purpose flour, you can get a good texture while also having more nutritional value to the recipe. Honey is a bit tricky to use, because it has a very strong flavor and it's twice as sweet as sugar. So when you use honey, you want to use half the amount. But it also can have a strong flavor, which can, even when you do that, can make it taste weird. So if you're using honey in a recipe, it's good to use it in a recipe that doesn't have very much sweetener in it, or in a recipe with part honey and part sugar. One of the recipes I made with natural ingredients was apple rolls, which are like cinnamon rolls, but instead of cinnamon and sugar, I used apple flavored jelly. In my apple rolls, I used honey as an alternative to sugar, and I used whole wheat flour mixed with all-purpose flour. The result was very good, especially if you added a little extra butter. Hello, I would like to introduce to you my mini orange cream pie. I really like the idea of doing a mini pie for this class. I wanted to make a pie inside a muffin tin because I thought that would be really cute, a little pie. It didn't work out on any of my other projects. I was going to do it for the quiche project. I would make little mini quiches, but I had never made a quiche before. So I decided that for that I was going to use a regular pan for my first time. And so I didn't end up using the mini pie idea for that one. And so for my final project, I knew that I was going to make a mini pie. And the question was just which kind of mini pie it would be that I would make. And I was having a lot of trouble deciding that because the only pie ingredients we had were canned pies, and I did not like the idea of using canned pies in my final project. So I was in this kitchen pacing back and forth trying to decide, and I opened the freezer and there's a can of orange juice concentrate. And so I got that out and I mixed it with cream cheese, and I tried to make like a custard with the cream cheese, and it was disgusting. So I decided that I like the idea of an orange cream pie, but I didn't want it to be like that. It tasted too much just like orange juice with cream cheese in it. I wanted it to taste more like a cream soda or a creamsicle, so I wanted something that was a little more fake. And so for that I decided to use orange jello because it's got a good orange flavor without so much of the orange juiceness to it, so I can make a good orange cream flavored item. Okay, first you want to start by preheating the oven to 375 degrees. Start doing that. So the first part you want to make is the custard. You start out by adding 1/4 of a package of cream cheese. That's about 2 ounces, one of these. You want to microwave it so that it will be soft, so that you can add in all the other ingredients and it will be smooth and have a nice texture. Once you've microwaved the cream cheese, which I have already done, then you add the milk. There's a cup of milk here, so you want to add that. Okay, now we're going to want to move this to the blender. Blend that up. Okay, so I've blended this at a low speed until it's mixed together well and it's smooth. Next, I want to add 1/2 a package of vanilla pudding. This is the 3.4 ounce package. And also 1 tablespoon of orange jello powder. You want to add these all at once because the pudding will clump as soon as it comes in contact with the milk. So turn this on, low speed. smells good. That's a good sign. I added a drop of food coloring to this because it was looking a bit yellow. Now I'm going to want to cover this in plastic wrap and put it in the fridge. Time to make my pie crust. Okay, I want to start out the dough by adding 1 1/4 cup of flour. So we'll add here 1 cup, and then about 1/4 cup. Next we want to add 1/2 teaspoon of salt. Put that in. Scoop of butter. You want to cut the butter in using a shortening cutter. Keep cutting it in until it is fine and it looks like cornmeal. Should be all mixed in. Okay, that looks good. Now we can add the water. We want this to be really cold, in fact ice water, and you add that about 1 tablespoon at a time. And then mix it with your hands as you add it. Needs a little more water. Add it to the side. That should start to form a soft dough. Okay, now we're going to want to roll the dough out into put some flour down on the counter, put some flour in my hands. Lots of flour. Alright. Some flour on this. It's a flour party here. Get this nice and thin. Once you've got it pretty thin, you're going to want to take either a cookie cutter or I've got glass here. Get circles about that size. Keep making circles. And that was a bad use of space. Well, take these, press the circles into the muffin tins like you would a pie crust. These aren't greased. Don't grease pie pans. Don't grease mini muffin pies. Once you got it in here, you want to prick them each with a fork once to let any air escape. And then it's ready to go in the oven. Well, I've let these cook for about 20 minutes, and then I took them out and I put them on a plate to cool. The recipe makes about a dozen, so there's 12 here. And I'm gonna fill them now. This has been in the refrigerator this whole time. A spoon. Just spoon a little bit into each one. Just like that. Nice and full. There we are. Mini orange cream pies.
Tune next time to hear Nellie sing.
No!